It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielson and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
All right, 12:03 on a Monday afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. Dustin Nielson and Tommy Gazzola with you today, brought to you by our great partners at Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. And if you're looking for some lunch, DoorDash, Skip the Dishes, Uber Eats, they'll get you taken care of at Popeyes. And boy, we've got lots to get to as we work our way through a day of practice for the Edmonton Oilers. Tommy, happy Monday, buddy. How you doing?
Hi, Dusty. Happy Monday to you. I love that the Nasty Club is finally a thing, and we're going to have our shop and our merchandise running as well. So I'm doing good.
You doing good?
I'm doing good.
All right, good. How was the rink today, man?
It was okay. I think all things considered, it was fine. The team's getting ready to leave. There was a debate among the media today, if anyone wants to know. Bye, Matthew. Bye, Matthew.
Yeah, he'll be right back. He's got to bring me back to Mouse. What was the debate among the media today?
Well, okay, so usually on a getaway day where they're going to be flying out, like you go into the room and you work the room, but the trainers need that space. So we're at the wall outside the room, and only a couple of guys came out, and it just created a bit of a fracas. So I mean, it was interesting, but it was fine. I mean, I'm not working on a story today, so yeah, exactly. I just take whoever was made available. So we got McDavid and Ekholm and Kane, which was great, but it was just, some displeasure there, I will say.
Yeah, I kind of got among with some. What's given to you. Yeah.
Among some, not everyone. I
could probably give you the list.
Oh, you know.
I could probably give you the list. What did McDavid have to say today?
No panic. All good. If they end up winning tomorrow night, then they're 1-2, and they were 1-2 last year, and we're back to normal, so to speak. But he also said, being paired up with Leon Draisaitl, if they're out there tomorrow, that they have the puck on their stick more often than not, and they need to create a little bit more, especially 5-on-5, and that's the focus for tomorrow's game in Nashville.
So do you have the line combinations in front of you? I know you tweeted them out today. Everybody's fired up. Do you have them in front of you? Let's get into this because there's a couple of ways that you can look at it. And I want to kind of get into it a bit. So lay it out for me.
Okay, so it was McDavid and Draisaitl with Evander Kane. Now, listen, I put Draisaitl at center because he was taking the reps at center and McDavid was on the wall. Those two interchangeable, so don't get too bent out of shape about that. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was at center with Foegele and Hyman. McLeod had Holloway and Brown with him, and then Janmark was between Ernie and Ryan. Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse with CC, Kulak and Broberg, Desharnais, the extra D-man.
Do they play with that group? We saw Woodcroft a number of times last year switch to the lineups in practice, and then everybody freaked out and said, oh, God, this is and then what happened? McDavid and Draisaitl were still on separate lines come the next game. So do you have a gut feeling one way or the other?
I want to say that they're going to be together. I do. But I also feel like that this is kind of Jay Woodcroft toying with everybody.
Well, exactly. That's what I mean.
Tomorrow. I mean, when he, going into game one of the regular season, has Stuart Skinner in the starter's net, and then Jack Campbell is the first one off the ice and gets the start on opening night. He's playing games, man. He's playing games. So I just want to say hello to Jay Woodcroft as he drives to the airport right now and is listening to us here on the Oil Stream. And so my instinct says they will be together to start tomorrow. But at the same time, if they're not, I'm just going to be like, oh, here we go again. Whatever.
Here's that's why I guess I'll believe them being together when I see it, because you got Connor McDavid coming out today. And what did you say he said? He said, no panic. Don't worry. Well, blowing up the lines 2 games in after 2 losses comes across to me as a bit of a panic from the coaching staff. Does it not?
A little bit, but they need to get their 5-on-5 going, and they're trying different combinations. And what have we said? Like, this team has the flexibility to move a lot of pieces around. And if they need to super tilt the ice, then they're going to McDavid, Draisaitl. Okay.
That's just
honestly,
it's such
I would,
bullshit. It's just bullshit though.
I would prefer that they just kept going and let these guys find chemistry with their respective lines. That's my preference. But like if those two are together and it's 3-0 after one, and then he reverts back to the lines that we saw in training camp and the lines that we saw in the first two games, and then he tries to get them back on track and they get a win. Is that okay? Is that okay?
It's still a mess. It's like, just, you set these lines to start the season. You got pumped after game one. You went back to the lines in game two. Look, Casey DeSmith was awesome in game two. Like, he made a lot of saves that he probably shouldn't have made. Like, I didn't look at their line combinations in game two and go, well, this is why they're losing. No, I looked at game two and thought, oh, look at Darnell Nurse is going to join a rush that already has 4 of his teammates in it. And then they're going to give up a 2-0 the other way. Like, you can't tell me that because Nuge is now with whoever he's with now, that Darnell Nurse is going to stop jumping up into the rush at poor times, or Nurse and Cece aren't going to be a train wreck in their own end. So you want to build a team that's structured to win in the playoffs, as opposed to last year's team that wasn't able to get it done. And 3 games into the year, you're all of a sudden, let's load up McDavid. And there's no way these guys start the game together tomorrow. I don't think Woodcroft will do it, man. I honestly don't think he'll do it. I think it'll be one of those things where it's like, oh, we took a look at it, but we're still going to run them on their separate lines. Because to me, I mean, all you're doing is sending a message to everyone, including McDavid and Draisaitl, that it's the same old thing. Right? Same old thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so easy to just throw those two together. And we saw Dave Tippett.
Tippett got basically fired because of it, man. Like,
yeah. And that's why I think he's messing with everyone. I think Jay Woodcroft, game 1 of the season, was playing games with us. Game 3 of the season, I feel like he's playing games with us. He knows that we're going to jump all over it today, and people are going to freak out. And maybe he's doing a good job of trying to deflect and create outside noise and let it be outside noise while his team gets the hell out of town and they can just focus on winning a game. And all the talk is about him loading up the big line instead of how porous they've been defensively in their own zone as a 5-man unit, and then how many bad reads their defense have been making, a la Darnell Nurse jumping up and 5 guys being caught deep. And then also it creates another narrative that keeps the discussion away from the goaltenders. Like, I think it's all of that mixed in a neat little package. He's doing it right now. Like, he's just doing it to mess with everyone, to get the narrative off of the team and its lackluster performance. So if he can take some of the heat for quote unquote panicking, he'll do it. I think that might be part of it.
Yeah, I don't think he's pulling a quick one on me, man. I think they roll back with the same line, because I think, you got to get things going. Put Fogle in the top 6. Come on, like, what are we doing here? Like, it just
right.
To me, it's just what you kind of just laid out. Change the conversation for a bit. Their forward line combinations are not the reason that they are losing hockey games. I'm sorry. That's not the reason. K Gill 97 says putting Leon and Connor together is, I don't know, it's that stupid little heart button I can never read.
It gets in the way.
Yeah, wait, now maybe it'll go away. Putting Leon and Connor together is not a desperation move. I think it's to get Kane going.
Carmen. That's Carmen. And he also added, you guys need to relax, to be honest. Carmen, to get Kane going?
Yeah,
Come on.
That's
not to get Kane going. Kane needs to get going, but you're not putting Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl together to get Evander Kane going.
Well, Kane's been playing with one of those guys anyway. So, like, why all of a sudden, in order to get Kane going, you have to completely disregard your other 3 lines? I don't think so. It's not happening. McDavid and Draisaitl will be on separate lines to start the next game. I think this is one of those classic Woodcroft moves.
Yeah. Carmen clears it up. Not you two means the chat. Okay.
Well,
Sorry,
we
Carmen.
panic sometimes too.
Yeah, we
But,
do. That's
I
true.
mean-
but Carmen gets fired up. So good to see Carmen watching.
But you
Appreciate
just
that.
like as a coaching staff, you can't sit there and go, "Oh man, we're 0-2. What do? Put McDavid and Draisaitl together." That can't be the solution. Like you can't possibly watch the tapes of these games and go, "Yeah, here's the move. Put McDavid and Draisaitl together." Like you can't do that. I would be very surprised if that's what ends up happening.
Dusty, having said that, is Jay Woodcroft trolling everybody? That should be the title of today's show.
A Woodcroft troll. Let me make a note
Classic.
here. Hey, LTE. Today's episode will be called A Woodcroft Trolling. He's got that. We'll have that locked in. So when you see it pop up later on podcasts, we can do that. Let's see here. Any of your questions? Let's go. Fire your questions over. As always, the Oil Stream brought to you in part by Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. We're sitting here right now in the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studios. And if you're looking for something to eat for lunch today, may I suggest you ordering in or sneaking out and grabbing yourself one of their blackened chicken sandwiches. Absolutely delicious. Weird G says it's probably to rebuild some confidence that they lost after the first couple of games. But, like, you don't just need to rebuild the confidence of McDavid and Draisaitl. They're fine. Their confidence levels are always through the roof because they're the best players in the National Hockey League. So how are you rebuilding the confidence of everybody else if you go, hey, we're going to put McDavid and Draisaitl together, they're going to save the day for you bums right now? Like, that's not rebuilding confidence for anybody. No. I'm sorry. It's just not.
No, especially if you're playing them 26 minutes in game 3.
Yes.
Yeah. No, they need to roll lines. They need to get momentum. Here's another thing. In the first 2 games, like the Oilers have actually had a good 5 opening minutes in both. And then they got the goal in game 2, 50 or 42 seconds in, whatever it was. And then they maintain. And then at like the 15-minute mark, it just dropped off. And Vancouver slowly pushed back and kind of took over for good chunks of, especially that first period for the majority of the end of the first period. And then even parts of the second period. Then the Oilers push back. Like they almost like go at it hard, take momentum, and then just let it dissipate and give it back to the Canucks. That part, I'm just like, I wrote again in my notes as I'm watching the game, good 4.5 opening minutes for the Oilers. And then I'm like, I wonder if they're going to piss it away. And they did. They really did. So let's see how they put together their opening 10 tomorrow. Let's not ask them for too much as we don't want to panic. Let's see if they put together a good opening 10. Hopefully it's a good opening 15 or even a good opening 20. That would be perfect. But I mean, a good opening 4 or 5 minutes in the first 2 games is not enough. But I'm looking for that incremental growth, sharpening things up and building a good, solid 60-minute performance together, which they clearly have not done.
What fired people up the most on the postgame show Saturday night?
There were a couple of things. I would say defensively was one that they were all over them. A lot of people saying and texting in saying this defense is horrible. Again, it wasn't particularly great, but like there was missed assignments. Brett Kulak, pick up your man. Usually you're better than that. So he hasn't been particularly great. Nurse is, we talked about it, and I know people love to point out, why was he jumping up? Batteried, 100%. CC, so. Ekholm getting back into the groove of things. He looked like a guy that missed all of training camp the other night. So the defense was under fire, and then I think the secondary topic of concern the other night would be the goaltending. And them going to Stuart Skinner saying they should have started Jack Campbell. Interesting how Skinner handled the post game, and I know he's been reading and discussing positivity. So even when a question that he could have jumped on himself about, he said, "No, you know what? I'm actually feeling good about my game, this and that." And I think the natural reaction for people would be like, "What the hell are you talking about? You've allowed 8 goals on 32 shots. You're at a .750 save percentage."
Literally impossible to feel good about your game.
Yeah. Now that's him. I think that's part of what he's been practicing on the mental side of things. So does it sound silly? Yeah. But if we're trying to explain it and understand it, which we obviously like to deep dive into, that's what I think the origin of it is him working on the positivity side and those books he's been reading. And so, are all of those goals his fault? No. The Sam Lafferty goal, was there a breakdown there? Did he get burnt by, or did Lafferty burn Matthias Ekholm wide? Yes, but I still think he should have saved that. He looked odd on the 2-on-0, but it's a 2-on-0.
Yeah, I know it's a 2-0. I was arguing with, I was watching the game with Eddie. You know Eddie, producer at, excellent producer at TSN. So we were watching the game, and we were talking about Skinner, and I said, yeah, but even on the 2-on-0 goal, he kind of it went right through him. It was really sort of, and Eddie's like, it was a 2-on-0. I was like, I get it. I know it's a 2-on-0, but it wasn't, it was just, it played. You shouldn't, I'm not going to blame him. I can't blame him because it's a 2-on-0. Darnell Nurse at this stage of his career needs to figure out what's happening on the ice in that spot and not continue to move up it like he was. It was just weird how it got through him, I guess, but.
It was. And you and Eddie had that conversation watching the game. Myself and Rashog had that conversation watching that. He's like, that was a 2-on-0. And I was like, yeah, I know. And so I'm not pinning it all on Stuart Skinner. You could go back to Fogle missing the net, zipping it wide on a rush like that. The jump up by Nurse, not recognizing that the other D-man was already engaged. And then it was Elias Pettersson and Jack Studnicka, and the way less gifted offensive guy of the two ended up with the shot, and he just kind of slid it through Stuart Skinner. I don't know what that save attempt was. It was almost like he was kind of falling.
Yeah.
So there were a few breakdowns there. But it is interesting. And where we pinpoint the error was, the fatal flaw of that play, I think is not moot point, but I think every one of those fatal flaws was equally as bad.
All right, your questions, obviously, to the Nasty Chat today. You can also hit us up, 780-218-9999. The Oil Stream brought to you in part by our great partners over at CoolBet. If you're not yet signed up for a CoolBet account, make sure you do. Use the code LOCKSHOP when you do sign up, and you get a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. And 5 games available over there right now in the National Hockey League for tonight. Of course, if you want to bet the Oilers and at least a Draisaitl goal against the Nashville Predators tomorrow, I think that's where you'll be doing it with our great partners over at CoolBet. We'll get to a few of your questions here right now. And 780-218-9999. Watch for those Oil Stream Edmonton Sports Talk exclusives that get boosted by our partners over at CoolBet as well. Matty Frey. Matty, how are you, buddy? He says, hey, boys, honestly, do you think our goaltending is good enough? I've always wondered about our goaltending. Thanks, Matty Frey.
It's a fair question. I mean, we expect better from Jack Campbell this year. Did we think Stuart Skinner would be this much of a liability? No. Can he be better? Yes, absolutely. Is he capable? He was last year. He was rock solid. And I appreciate the positivity he is exuding. And I hope that translates into better play and that extra save that they need. Yeah, the goaltending needs to be better. But right now, I think the whole team has to be better because, I mean, good on the Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks played hungry. I use the term dog on a bone, the way they played, even though they got heavily outshot the other night. But they were hustling. They were chasing pucks down. They were scrambling in the defensive zone. They had, I think, 25 block shots. So Vander Kane even said it today. He's like, yeah, we had 41 or 40 shots was eventually what the NHL changed it to officially. He felt they could have had way more.
So then why did they change their lines? They had 40 shots.
Well, why did they change them for practice today?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't think they will.
Are we being trolled?
Yeah, we're being trolled. And a huge kudos to Woody for the troll. He knows how to throw the market into a frenzy, and I think that's what he's doing here.
I do too. But yes, Matt Frey, absolutely we should be looking at the goaltending going, what the hell's going on? 4 goals in per guy whenever they show up this season, and twice it's been on Skinner, and not good enough. But a lot of those goals are missed assignments. How many deflection goals, how many screens and long bombs that have gotten through? I know in garbage time in Vancouver, you could look at those goals and be, well, the team's given up. They're ready to pack it up and go home by, midway through the third period because it was over. But all of it has just been kind of a dud out of the gate.
For anybody asking, if you're wondering like our opinion on it, Jack Campbell starts on Tuesday, right? That's
so.
a no-brainer.
Okay, here's another thing. Stuart Skinner was working in the starter's net at practice today.
Troll job.
I think it's a troll
job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going. Justify to me why Skinner would start that next game.
I can't.
There's none. There's no justification for it.
If it's an open competition, and so far, Jay Woodcroft has proven that by starting Jack Campbell on opening night and then going to Stuart Skinner, giving him a shot to test it out, see if he could take the reins. It clearly did not on Saturday. So I think you go back to Jack Campbell and see if he can rekindle some of that magic he had in the preseason. And then let's see. I don't know if they go to Campbell again. Like, say Campbell were to have a good start in Nashville, do they go to him in Philly, or are you ready to go to
I would.
Skinner?
If Jack Campbell, if you're 0-2, Skinner's sporting a 750, and Jack Campbell comes out and puts up a 920 and they win 4-1 or 4-2, I'd start Jack Campbell in the next game.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I got to a point on Friday when Awanik and I were doing Oil Stream. I kind of I was going through the schedule, reading it as we're debating, and I'm just like, man, I don't know. Like, I'm not ready to throw a guy 2 out of every 3 starts just yet. And the cushion that's built into the early season schedule, like, they don't have a back-to-back till December 22nd. And
how's that happen? There's no back-to-back until December 22nd?
Yeah, like,
holy
they have
smokes.
a very comfortable schedule to start the year for the first 2.5 months.
That's crazy to me.
I know.
Yeah. Coach Mike is asking, 780-218-9999. If you are listening live at edmontonsportstalk.com, make sure you tell your friends how easy it is to listen live. Just go to edmontonsportstalk.com and click listen live. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, hit us up in the nasty chat there. A good discussion over there. I like the nasty chat because guys can go back and forth. We don't even need to address it. They don't need us. They're just all chatting amongst themselves over there.
I like it.
Which certainly helps as well. Coach Mike says, do you guys think Nurse and Ceci can still be in an effective shutdown pair? And does that pair finish the season together?
Ooh, 2-parter. Coach Mike, good afternoon. Can they be an effective shutdown pair? So far, no.
No.
I would even set the bar lower and say, can they just be a reliable pair?
Yeah, that's
they
like, to me,
a healthy 20 minutes.
To me, a shutdown pair, Tommy's the guys you have it on the ice for the 90 seconds with a 1-goal lead.
Yeah, and that's Ekholm, Desharnais when he's playing.
That's not going to be Nurse. It might end up being Nurse in some situations, but it's not going to be Nurse and CC together, I don't think.
No, I would think it would be Ekholm and maybe CC, and then Nurse, and definitely not Broberg.
Can't be Broberg.
Maybe even Kulak. But Kulak has to be better defensively. Like, it's to the point. The start has been such a dud. They've tripped themselves up that even Brett Kulak, who's generally pretty reliable, quiet, we don't have to talk about him much. We're looking at goals that are going in. It's like, well, what was Kulak doing there? Why was Kulak not picking up his guy? And there's been a few of those instances. So it's not just the key guys that have been off. It's been the depth guys that have been off as well to start the year. But do I think, Coach Mike, to get to that second part of the question, that CC and Nurse end up a pair at the end of the season? I think it's very realistic.
Yeah, who else? What else is it?
If you're going Nurse Bouchard because you're feeling that Bouchard's game is picked up and Ekholm can start working with Broberg, maybe it ends up being Kulak and CC because they've obviously dabbled with that a bit. But I do think ultimately it'll end up being Nurse and CC just for balance. Man, they got away from Ekholm Broberg so fast. Or they got away from Nurse Bouchard so fast.
Nurse Bouchard. Yeah, well, that's because it sucks. That's because defensively
suck.
it's a train wreck. So you got to have those guys split up. You just have to.
Chager and I were talking about it going into game one, and Chager goes, "How many games do you give Nurse Bouchard?" And I was like, 3 or 4 maybe. Yeah. And he goes, "I don't even think it gets there," and it didn't.
780-218-9999 into the inbox, 780-218-9999. Keep that nasty chat going as well. And hey, if you're watching right now, let's hammer that thumbs up. Hey, let's go hammer that thumbs up right now. That would be great. We would appreciate that. Let's go to this one. Guys, it's the start of the year. Honestly, I hate Woody trolling people because it's a waste of time. Why don't they actually work on their 5-on-5 game instead of trying to toy with the media with lines and goalies? Like, who cares?
Agreed. I said that today. I said that exact same thing. It's like, we know that the information we get, the opposition gets, they scout. So it's almost like this pointless exercise. However, going back to earlier in the show, I think he's trolling to create the narrative and debate and discussion on this stuff because he's displaying it. And then we get the sleight of hand for the start of next game. And, it just gets everybody into a tizzy and gets everyone going. And then they do what they should and play the proper combinations and try to build chemistry. I think it's just Jay Woodcroft's way of absorbing and taking the heat as opposed to letting the players take it all. Like, a great example is they lose 8-1. They're supposed to practice the next day after they return from Vancouver. They don't have a full practice. A few guys skate. And the only person made available to the media is Jay Woodcroft. That's a total coach move, absorbing the heat and giving his guys a little bit of a deflection. And I went into the Hall of Fame room that morning and I was like, man, this is weird. Why the hell aren't they skating? And Stoff being Stoff, he works for the team. And even Jack, they're like, dude, we got in late. We lost an hour. They want to rest up. They got full practice tomorrow. I worked for the team for 8 years too, and I know how the schedule generally works. Everybody on the team was in the building that day. Sure, you made it an optional, but not making the guys available. Like, that was such a BS deflection. But we're already seeing it, a week into the season, not even a full week into the season, where they've had to deflect a couple of times because of how poorly the team has played on the ice. It's just, Jay is just trying to read the room, and again, he stays on top of everything, and that's how he wants to handle it. So if they roll out their normal lines that they went through the preseason with, practice all those days during training camp with, tomorrow night, and they get a win, then all of this cools off and it subsides. And we look at Philadelphia and people get amped up and say, oh, this team's back on track. They're 1-2, 2-2 coming home against Winnipeg on Saturday. It's funny how quickly the topics of debate change, and that's just the nature of the beast here in Oil Country.
1-2 last year to start. I mean, they still had a really nice first 10 games. The year before, great first 10 games as well. So we'll see how this rolls out. Parts of the Oil Stream today and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, brought to you by our great partners over at Boston Pizza. Watch the Oilers at Boston Pizza. $5 off medium pizzas, $1 off tankers of Canadian and Coors Light, and $5 50-cent shots of Fireball, Jaeger, Burt Reynolds, Purple Rain, and Honey Jack. So you can get that taken care of at Boston Pizza if you're looking to go watch the game. We're actually having a client mixer here tomorrow night, and the crew from Boston Pizza is coming, and they're actually bringing the pizzas for everybody. So that'll be great. Yeah, Boston Pizza is going to be providing pizza for the client mixer tomorrow night. Tommy will be doing the pre and post game from right here in the studio, and all of our clients will have a chance to check it out and see what we're building here. And huge thanks to Boston Pizza for hooking us up with that. I was actually at a place watching the game. And we were going to have some shots. There was three of us there, and they didn't have Fireball. They didn't have Fire Jack. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what are you doing? Like, what do you mean you don't have Fireball or Fire Jack? We ended up just shooting straight JD. And I'll tell you, buddy, I'm not a big Jack Daniels guy. And we probably had about 6 or 7 of those. And
how did you feel after? My goodness.
Yeah, I felt not bad that night. Didn't feel too great the next morning, though. Yeah, I blamed it on working a lot over the previous 48 hours, like 2 CFL games, show in the morning, driving and stuff. But I think it was probably the shots of Jack instead.
I would say that's probably what did you.
Lesson learned, and it wasn't a great deal like you can get at Boston Pizza on game days for $5.50. Yeah.
And you could taste the Jack the next day too.
Oh, it was gross.
Like,
this is why I'd never, ever do that with Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I should also grow up and stop doing shots. But what are you going to do?
No.
We're having a good time.
Never grow up.
Yeah, it was It was fun. 780-218-9999. Okay, here, this is a good one. Man, I love the text line now with the oil stream.
It's
good. Boys, the goaltending Saturday night was the least of our concerns, in my opinion. 5-on-5, we need to be better. We need to play harder defensively. Lots of the goals have been tips or strange deflections through 2 games, and we need to stop taking dumb penalties. Leon's taken 1 in each game so far, and you simply can't be doing that. That's a fair point. I don't know if I'd say the goaltending is the least of the concerns, because there are a few concerns. Goaltending would be among them, but the stupid penalties is a good one too.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the penalty summary.
Oilers had 7 power plays. Canucks had 3, right?
Yeah. And like volume-wise, the penalties are moderate, especially when you point out the amount of power plays the Oilers had. It's the type and the timing of the penalties, you know? Even McDavid taking the one to kill a power play, Draisaitl's, that was... You know you can't move a stick. You know you can't move.
Does he just think he's going to get away with that? That must be like he has to know that. So he's thinking, I'm just going to get away with it. You're not going to get away with that, man. Come on.
Those 2 taking those penalties, that was bad. That was bad. And it killed momentum. And they had a 5-on-3 later in the game. They didn't convert on. So that's frustrating. And that's not being sharp. And you know, being too loosey-goosey, I think, is what it comes back to. And I think that's a good point by the texter that brought that up. So the timing of those penalties, not so much the volume, absolute buzzkill.
Tommy, which one is more disappointing to you? I threw this up on Twitter last night. Them getting spanked in their first game or not winning a bounce-back game after that?
The spanking. You get embarrassed like that, it's always going to be a problem and the worst of the 2. I kind of wondered this, and feel free to chime in via the text line or the nasty chat on this. I know you want to get that shot against the Canucks the next game, and they did, and they blew it despite the hot start. But is it like too much Canucks, and the Canucks feel good against you that they knew that, you know, you weather the storm for the first 5 and then you can slowly chip away? And once the Canucks realized that, you know, the Oilers came out hot, got that first goal in the opening minute, but then saw that the Oilers kind of settled in, that the Canucks had the confidence, maybe it's subconscious or not, that they could start to play their game and start to take it to the Oilers, which they kind of did, despite being heavily outshot, but knowing that, hey, they're getting a good night from their goaltender, and B, if they just stick to it, they're going to get their opportunities, which they did, and they took advantage. I mean, the play that kind of changed it all was the Lafferty play, and then the Oilers couldn't beat DeSmith, and the Canucks were diving in front of every shot that was going at their net. I kind of wondered too if the Canucks, you know, just felt good playing against the Oilers again, and were just like, oh, this is very similar to the type of game and performance and effort that we saw the first night from Edmonton. Maybe with more fight back and jump from the Oilers. But I think that there's like a bit of confidence from the Canucks side in knowing that you're going to get your opportunities and you can play it the same way you did on Wednesday night and probably get the result. And they did. I know the shots were lopsided in favor of the Oilers, but it was just like, it seems like the Canucks felt good against Edmonton.
This is going to be a crazy question to ask because they're still at such different levels of expectations. But the Canucks aren't a better team than the Oilers, right?
No.
Like, there's not this bounce back with Rick Tocchet this year to... I mean, I'd make a case, Vancouver... I think people would trade Edmonton's goalies for Vancouver's goalies right now. Don't you?
I think people would trade Edmonton's goalies for anybody right now.
So the Canucks would have the advantage between the pipes.
Yeah,
I
they
mean...
do.
I mean, Quinn Hughes is a better defenseman than anyone the Oilers have, but the Oilers have such a significant advantage up front, I guess, as well. I think Vancouver's going to be better than we expected this year.
Vancouver, if anything, they've shown through 2 games, they work their butts off. Even though that the talent might not be on par with their opponent, like we saw in the first couple of games, they worked their asses off to even the playing field and took advantage of their opportunities. I mean, today, Vander Kane was talking about simplifying, that they were playing too much on the outside. And, you know, maybe, and I think that's a tell that the team is a little perhaps overconfident, my word. with Kane just saying we need to get to the inside, that tells me they need to be grittier, greasier, hungrier, more determined, and get to, putting on their work boots a little bit more, as opposed to white gloving it and trying to be the fancy boys and beat teams that way.
Yeah, I guess who leads that? Who is it? Got to be Evander Kane that leads
Everybody,
it?
everybody has to do it.
Yeah, but
everybody.
But not everybody always does it, right? Like there's usually a few guys who start that, and then everybody follows.
But don't stop once you start it. Keep doing it.
But have we ever said that about this group? Ever?
Always. We always say it about this.
About what group? What are you talking about?
That they have to work harder.
Yeah, no, but have we ever said that the entire group pushes as hard and is as physical as we expect them to be on a regular basis? No, that's what I mean.
They never do
that's
that.
That's not what they are.
Right?
That's not what they are. They're inconsistent physically.
Yeah, absolutely. And now they've got egg on their face. They're 0-2. They lost to a Pacific Division rival. No more BS. No more dilly-dallying around. Go out there and earn it, man. Go smack the Preds around, but do it the right way. Do it by skating hard. Do it by making the right plays, the right reads. Just play a hard game. And if it's a 3-1 win, who gives a shit? Like, just get the win, do it right, and start playing the way your coaches are asking you to, and follow through on the systems, because you've been embarrassed twice already. Sorry.
This message is, hey guys, I'm not sure if it's just me, but the Listen Live link hasn't been working for me all day. I normally don't have issues with it. YouTube works, but I have to leave it open. It might just be you, man. We haven't had anybody else messaging, and we've seen the numbers of everybody listening today. So yeah, thousands of people have been listening today. So that might just be a you issue. Guys, Vancouver blocked 25 shots on Saturday. The way they had to play to win is unsustainable. The Oilers will be fine. I mean, the final message here would be the Oilers will be fine. I think we would all expect them to be fine. They're going to lose 2 games at points in the season. This just so happened to be that they lost 2 games right at the start of the year, which puts the spotlight on it so much more.
Yeah, that's true. This is true. I mean, some people are panicking, but no need. Not yet.
Yeah.
If they're 0-4 coming home against Winnipeg, okay,
yeah, that's different.
Button,
I just find it funny when it says some people are panicking and the fan base is panicking, but the coach is completely changing up the lines. Like that's why I don't think he's going to run it that way for the game. It's the same thing when I said prior to the first game of the season, I said Woodcroft is a man of his word, and he said it was an open competition between the pipes, and they started Jack Campbell because he was the better goalie in the preseason. Yeah. I just don't see Jay Woodcroft second-guessing his own line combinations 3 games into the year. That would surprise the hell out of me.
I know. I'm with you.
Hey, what about Conor Brown? He's the one guy who falls out of the top 6. I didn't mind his jump in the first game. I thought he was one of the bright spots in the first game. I mean, he at least had a little bit of energy even when they were down. Second game, not so much. I still think he starts in the top 6 against Nashville, but today he was skating with McLeod and Holloway.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we sum up his first 2 games? I mean, I think the answer should kind of be as expected. He hasn't played hockey in a year, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, like I think you lump him in with Evander Kane. Kane hasn't been particularly great.
Yeah, I wouldn't lump him in with Evander Kane, though, because Conor Brown hasn't played a hockey game in a year.
Okay.
Right? Like, that's a different set of expectations, I think.
Let's look at his minutes here. Brown averaging 16:01. He's got 2 shots. He's a -3. He missed basically a full year of hockey, had his knee reconstructed. No, I mean, there's going to be a bit of a rust factor. He looked good in the preseason, but as we know, the level of competition elevates. I'm sure he wants more from himself. I'm sure he's going to be fired up. Just be tenacious. Let's see if he wins battles tomorrow night, Dusty. Let's see if he gets to the net, scores, or gets some greasy chances, and maybe he scores one of those. If he is playing that way and he doesn't look a step behind and he's not missing any assignments in his own zone, I think that would be a good indicator. So let's see if he's helping to tilt the ice in simple ways, because he's not known as a as a highly skilled dipsy doodler. He's a guy that kind of mucks it up and gives you an honest effort and grinds for everything he gets. If he's doing that and he doesn't score, getting an assist, but he is kind of helping to swing the momentum in favor of the Oilers, I think that would be a good sign. So that's kind of what I'll be watching for tomorrow with Conor Brown. But has he been good to start the year? The short answer is no. Is there reasons why? Yeah. Excuses, sure. But I'm sure he wants better from himself. But if he's doing those little things and we're getting good indications that his game is building up, then okay, the goals and assists will come.
Oil Stream brought to you in part by Boston Pizza. One more time, if you're looking for some place to watch the game, $5 off medium pizzas. That should feed, two hungry guys. But if you're going to a game with two buddies, 3 of you can probably handle a medium. Hey, that's okay. A couple slices each. One guy gets a bonus slice type of thing, or 2 guys get 3 slices. One guy gets 2. Maybe you divide up those extra 2 slices into 3s and everybody has the same amount. Who knows? I think that would work.
There's enough for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. $1 off tankers of Canadian or Coors Light as well, plus $5 50-cent shots of Fireball, Jaeger, Burt Reynolds, Purple Rain, Honey Jack. Also had a Burt Reynolds on Saturday night too. I guess we got into it pretty
I had
Saturday
one.
night. Did you have one on Saturday night too?
Yeah, post game went for some beverages with DVD. Ran into our good friend Steve Weiss, and Steve just casually slid in and dropped off 3 Burt Reynolds, and then we subsequently had many more tankards of beer.
A safe one to drop off. A Burt Reynolds, right? That's an easy drop-off shot. Like, personally, don't necessarily love them, but if somebody's going to bring me a shot, I'd rather get stuck with one of those than something that's super, super tough to get down. So,
yeah. It was a nice, hey, haven't seen you in a while.
Nice, nice delivery.
Hey.
Yeah,
good to see you.
Nice delivery. All right, one more, one of our sponsors here. If you're looking to plan a birthday party or a Christmas party or just a get-together with your friends, do it at One Putt Virtual Golf. Brand new facility that features 6 TrackMan bays. Same technology that they use on the PGA Tour. PGA Tour, by the way, huge fans of the Oil Stream. That's why they're probably excited about this. It's a perfect spot for group events, birthday parties, Christmas parties, and also, this is good, also a great spot to catch an Edmonton Oilers game. Hey, why not?
Yes.
Go hit the links. Go hit the links at One Putt. Watch the game. It's some sort of weird, like, golfing while watching hockey thing that you're going to have to get used to, but it's a nice setup there. And you can go check it out. They're located 6816 178th Ave, north end of Edmonton. Kid-friendly place, too. Free arcades, complimentary snacks, large selection of adult beverages. It's for your family. It's for your friends. It's One Putt Virtual Golf. And you got to go check it out. We're going to get our crew out there, and we'll send some, share some videos when we eventually do. About 15 minutes left in this episode of the Oil Stream. So hit us up, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, or in the nasty chat this morning. Special teams. Let's talk special teams. 2 games in, so the numbers aren't going to look good when your penalty kill gets smoked a bit. But what's your level of faith in the penalty kill getting back on even ground here at some point in the near future?
You mean the 31st overall ranked penalty kill that's at a whopping 55.6%?
That one. That penalty kill is at 55% or whatever it's at.
It sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It sucks, man. Like they're like they were at the start of last year. Like, what happened? They had to scramble to clean it up to get it into, I think, the middle third of the rankings. And is it as simple as saying Vinny Desharnais needs to be on the PK? I don't think so. I think he would be a nice boost. Maybe they'd be at 65% with Vinny Desharnais in the lineup, but they just they're missing assignments. It's just, why is there a guy in front? Why are you screening your own goalie? Why aren't you getting the puck out? Don't execute, and that's what happens, and it's just happening all over again. Another theme, I should have said this too, Dusty, on the postgame show that popped up was a bunch of people, and I think I said it, and then a bunch of people also were saying it at the same time. It's like deja vu. It's deja vu to the start of last year. Bad PK, 5-on-5 hasn't been great. What the hell's going on with the goalies? So it's deja vu. This PK stinks right now. They're giving up the middle. Pucks are getting through Royal Road. Sean Bell always talks about how it's a 30% bump up that you're going to get a goal against once that puck crosses the middle, aka Royal Road, and they're allowing that pass through the middle way too often. And it's if you get the first save, it's creating chaos. And right now, even those how many long bombs have made it through and found a screen, and the goalies are going like that, or Stuart Skinner is asking for a review of a high stick. You can't have that. It's the PK is terrible. So I have very little faith in it right now. It's capable of being much better. Be sharp on those assignments. I know they've thrown in new wrinkles. They've got Conor Brown, who's supposed to be on the PK, and it just sucks right now. It's not good. And then the power play is connected. 3 opportunities, 7 opportunities the other night, 2 goals, and it's going to be fine. I know
does that look like early season power play? Kind of. Do you think?
No, because they're too cute. I was going to say they've been too cute on the power play. Like even the power play goal they scored the other night was kind of like a scramble in front, right? And McDavid just kind of chipped it home.
Yeah.
Because DeSmith lost it. And then the power play goal that they scored in Vancouver, they finally funneled a puck to the net. It was like a fan by Bouchard, and then it created a little bit of chaos, and then they just banged it home. They have to simplify. And I know they've been trying to implement different looks. And then there was the power play goal that was it McDavid to Draisaitl. That's a standard play that they scored on. Sorry, but the one where they got the chaos in front was off a fan. Just simplify it and use what works. And I know they want to incorporate different looks so that they could keep opposition PKs off guard. Do it, but it's okay to use the plays that work too, especially when you're struggling to score goals.
Somebody was texting into the Nielsen show this morning wondering about getting Bouchard's shot involved a bit more on the power play, and haven't really seen that much just yet. That would be one of those different looks, right? Like it's so much McDavid trying to seam one through to Draisaitl or the other way. Sometimes they'll work that one where they get McDavid on the right wall, kind of slide Draisaitl into the sort of high-ish slot area and try to get a quick one to him there. Not a bad idea, though, just to get it back to Bouchard and let him rip it sometimes, man. Like, I even rip it sometimes if you can get it through, but just get one through. Get a few through. Like, there have not been many point shots on the power play so far, but the power play is going to contribute. It's basically where, 75% of their offense so far has come on the power play. In the end, against the Canucks, they do outshoot them 40-16. Could have had much better, but, I mean, the errors they make defensively end up butting them in the butt, and you don't get a free pass just because you get 40 shots on goal. Darnell Nurse isn't allowed to jump up into the rush and allow a 2-0 the other way. Like, it's just, you have to find these spots to play solid defensive hockey and go from there. Once again, smash that thumbs up button. If you are watching right now, you can text us 780-218-9999. We can get to a few more of those text messages before we wrap this thing as well. Boys, the lines need to be more balanced with speed and experience. 55, 97, 18, 91, 29, 28. McLeod, Nuge, and Fogle together as well. I'm not throwing I'm leaving Holloway right where he is right now. Holloway looks like he can be a guy who wants to make plays on that third line and not concede the puck to 97 and 29 every single time that he gets it. I think Holloway's fine right where he is, Tommy. Do you agree?
Yep. Let him work through it. It's going to be the penalties have been a problem and have eaten into his potential minutes, but I like his way of going at it. Like, he doesn't change his game. It doesn't look like he gets deterred when he's not playing a ton. When he goes out there, he has the same mindset. He looks hungry. He attacks. He doesn't change his game. I think it'll come for him. Is he on the perimeter a little bit too much in these first couple games? Yeah, probably. But I think he's going in the right direction, and McLeod's getting up to speed. So I like where he's at right now. I don't think you need to bump him up or anything like that. Let him find it. Let him become comfortable as an NHLer, because I think there's still some of that growing pain occurring. But I think he's on a good track. I really do.
In the Nasty Chat, Original George says, proud Nasty Club member right here. And that brings us back around to something that we launched this morning. If you go to EdmontonSportsTalk.com right now and click Nasty Club, it's like our Edmonton Sports Talk OnlyFans. We had a lot of people who kind of reached out and were like, hey guys, like, is there a way we could donate to kind of help things, or do a Patreon account, or anyway to kind of financially contribute? And look, we've got a lot of sponsors. We've got a lot of great partners who've hopped on board. So we're not asking you for money, but we're like, you know what? People do want to support us. So let's churn out some bonus content, put together like this sort of exclusive members only site. And we've had a lot of people already sign up today. There's 3 different levels of signing up. You can sign up for just $4.99 a month. Would do the math on that. It's like just under $60 for the entire year. And then there's another level you can get at, and you'll get priority entry into the Nasty Bash draw. You'll get a mug, you'll get a t-shirt. And then there's a premium membership. You'll get the hat included in there as well. And then you'll go into a series of draws. We're going to have a couple different prizes, but the grand prize will be a night out with our Edmonton Sports Talk crew. So, it's... And once we get the execution of it figured out, we've already got clients kind of lining up, but we're going to have bonus offers. So you'll be able to go into your Nasty Club account and see what the bonus offer is at, let's say, United Sport and Cycle, and then go down to United Sport and Cycle, take advantage of that. You'll probably make back your $4.99 in a matter of like 1 or 2 stops around the city with our clients. So actually, I think it's a model that's going to work insanely well. And the bonus content, we played the Toby Reader goal song this morning because that's in there. All the goal songs are loaded in on the content, so you can go there on your phone, super easy, play them for the kids and stuff, play them for your friends, play them for yourself. And then the post-show show that Eric and I will be doing every single day as well. And we'll add more exclusive content along the way. So, yeah, tell your friends about the Nasty Club. But, George, thanks for signing up. Thanks to everybody who signed up, actually.
Yeah, we appreciate that. I love how you were like, we're working on the execution of it.
Yeah.
Like you got really fired up and passionate when you said that. This has been in the works for some time, and it's neat to see. And I know there's a lot of nasties out there. So if you want that extra dose of nasty, become a nasty.
There's been a lot of good ideas, like maybe like Nasty Club exclusive golf tournament, Nasty Club exclusive like poker night. There's a bunch of fun stuff on there. So yeah, go sign up. And, we obviously appreciate the support. The one thing we also said this morning, which is like, this isn't lip service. We're not just saying it and then we're like going to scam people. But basically any money that we make that is profit off of the Nasty Club will go into like our marketing and merch kind of department to, just get more exposure for everybody, which in turn makes Edmonton Sports Talk and the Nasty Club even better. So that's the business plan from that model. And, we think it's good. So, if you'd like to support, hit us up at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Click on the Nasty Club and get that bonus content. I know Eric and I did a postal show at about 9:20 today. Maddie hadn't showed me how to upload it properly yet, but from now on, I'll be able to upload that right away, and then we can get that up right away for you later in the morning. Like we said earlier, if you are looking to book something for your staff, for your friends, for your buddies, for your kids, for a kid's hockey team or something like that, do it at One Putt Virtual Golf, brand new facility, 6 TrackMan bays. It's at 6816 178th Ave on the north end. Great spot to watch the Oilers game as well. I could see a lot of people settling in to that routine, right? Grab the clubs, go watch a game on the road or something like that, and just have a good time. Those TrackMan bays, you can usually play like pretty much any course in the world, can't you? Like,
you could put like a lot of the most notable ones. Yeah, TrackMan is really neat, and it's what I know it's great for parties and get-togethers and stuff too. But for like the hardcore golfers that just want to keep their swing nice and loose in the off season, now that courses are pretty much shutting down or are shut down already, once or twice a month, even just to keep the swing loose, and by the time the spring rolls around, you're good to go again. So I like it for that. So we get the Gazzola boys together, and we usually take a bay. Now that One Putt's open, we're probably going to be heading there, and we'll just be playing. Usually it's on Sundays because that's when we golf. But yeah, that's what, have a few bevies, watch a hockey game or a football game on a Sunday while you're also playing one of the neatest courses in the world, and like again, keeping that swing nice and loose and ready to go. So there's not all that rust when you get back into the swing of things, literally in the spring when we're back on the courses.
My swing's gone to garbage. It has. I just didn't golf enough this year, man. I got to try to get it up to speed at One Putt throughout the winter. Get out there a few times so I don't go in and it's just golf is so bloody frustrating for me.
Oh, I know.
And you know what's weird is that, I got a new driver this year. When I was hitting it into the simulator at Golf Town, I'm like, okay, like it's not bad. And Then I get out on the track, and it's just a god-awful mess. So I guess maybe I'm just a simulator guy, right? Give me a TrackMan. Let me go sit down on the TrackMan, and we'll go from there. So yeah. All right, before we wrap, you'll have the pregame show, postgame tomorrow for this game against Nashville. Earlier game. Yeah. What time you guys get rolling tomorrow on this bad boy? Like
tomorrow, 4:30. 4:30.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And so we'll have our event going on. Those that are coming down the open house for clients and stuff like that. Mixer, as you call
client
it.
mixer.
They're going to be able to keep a tab on us on the pre and post game show, and then 4:00 on Thursday, because it's a 5:30 Mountain start in Philly for us. So yeah, it's going to be a couple of early ones, but that's fine. That's they go out central, out east, and we get to bed a little bit earlier, or time for another beverage or two.
All right. That is going to do it for this episode of the Oil Stream. Thank you very much for listening live and watching live. Quickly, I mean, I guess you'll get into in the pregame, but what do you think happens in Nashville, buddy?
I think they win. I mean, there shouldn't be a night all season where we're going, I think they're gonna lose this game. They're definitely I think they're going to win. They get the monkey off their back or the weight off their shoulders, whatever you want to describe it as. And all is normal and well in oil country on Wednesday. And then we do it all over again Thursday night. And they should be able to come away with a couple of wins from this road trip, which sets up a really, really fun Saturday against
That should be a really good one on Saturday against the Winnipeg Jets. All right, for Tommy Gazzola, I am Dustin Nielson. That's going to do it for another full day of talk here at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Listen live, watch live. We got a few more announcements in the hopper here over the next couple of weeks as well, which we are pretty excited about. So make sure you tell your friends to check out EdmontonSportsTalk.com. We'll be back tomorrow morning on the Nielsen Show at 6 o'clock to get you ready for the Oilers and the Nashville Predators. Jamie McLennan's actually going to join us tomorrow. Gager will join us tomorrow as well. So lots to get to tomorrow morning on the show, and a Nielsen Show replay from this morning. If you're looking for some real good entertainment this afternoon, we've got you covered right here at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. That'll do it for the Oil Stream. Tom, we'll talk to you tomorrow, bud.
All right. Smash that thumbs up button. See you guys tomorrow.